Chapter 5: The Richest Homeless Person. The successes I had in the summer of 2010 skyrocketed my name in the sales world. I was 21 years old, and my office had sold product worth $140,000 in just 4 months with just 26 sales reps. I earned over $25,000 just in that summer. I'd gone from being a terrible sales rep to being an influential person in our company across the country. The leadership team then decided they wanted me to run an office in a bigger city. And when you're getting recognition by important people, it's hard to say no. I felt like this was the beginning of my journey. What I learned from being a shitty sales rep and then being recognized for my contribution to the company is that you got to hold yourself accountable and meet the expectations of the people that care for you in the business. When you're at the top, though, you fall the hardest. I witnessed it over and over again when success came immediately to the newbies. When I had been in sales for a year, I would hear about those who surpassed my total sales period within 10 days of starting. They overcame the struggles I went through getting a sales like it was nothing. I looked up to these newbies that had it easy. If they kept it up, they would take over the world, yet before most of them even truly got started, they would quit. Why? When success came so easily. Reflecting on my experience, two things came to mind: consistency and mental fortitude. What I love about sales is how primitive the food chain is. If you sell a lot, you're a top dog, but if you don't sell shit, you're just another member of the pack. It's how much you sell over 52 weeks and not just over 10 days that really counts. Quick success allows a newbie to get instant gratification in forms of money, prizes, company recognition, and a rise in the office standings. The reps that had immediate success took shortcuts of learning approaches and scripts, but this failed them in the long term. They just wanted to make money without really ever having a bigger goal in mind. Money alone will only motivate you for so long. Even when I was going through the lackluster start of my sales career, I wasn't doing it for the money. It was a lot of fun learning from some of the best sales reps in the company and hearing their stories, but all I ever wanted to do was get better, and eventually the skills I developed through that attitude rewarded me. My advice: be consistent with your short-term goals and be open to whatever creative ways you think that can help you obtain them. Each little milestone will grow your confidence in whatever you're doing. This is what motivated me through the bad days and allowed me to celebrate the successes I later earned. The company always wanted to promote new managers. They would hype up the next big company trip and give the new managers a goal to work towards. The reward for sales managers who did do the most business in the summer of 2011 was a trip to Maui, Hawaii. Having earned a trip to Ireland the year prior, I expected to go on this one, and I was excited to share it with my girlfriend. They announced the trip in January, and I was going to manage a new office starting in April. I went through the company's leadership and sales training program for the second time while still going to university. I sacrificed my evenings and weekends to train and practice my sales scripts. Sales had taught me the art of negotiation. I remember telling my professor that I needed to fly to New York for a training seminar and asking if I could defer a midterm to another day. They agreed, and when I arrived at my hotel, I did some homework before going to talk to the new managers. I was extremely efficient and felt that running a business had taught me great time management skills for someone of such a young age. April finally came, and my girlfriend and I finished our final exams. We spent as much time together as we could before I left again for my summer job. But this time my office wasn't just 5 hours away in Grand Prairie, it was a 16-hour drive across two provinces in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Just before I left, I promised my girlfriend that I would take her to Maui no matter what. I was confident in my skills, my ability to run an office, and I meant every word of it. I packed my bags, stuffed my Toyota Camry with as much office furniture as I could fit in, and I was off. My dad came with me this time, and we would take turns driving. When we finally arrived in Winnipeg, we spent a night at the motel. The next day, I dropped my dad off at the airport, and he flew back home, leaving me behind in a new city. Luckily, I was close friends with the district manager for Winnipeg, and she helped me with the transition, and between us, we moved all the office supplies up 2 flights of stairs and set up the TVs and chairs. Then I was all set for another 4-month grind. Those 4 months passed in a flash, but not because the summer was just like the last one. Far from it. My office failed. I didn't hit the top 10, and I lost close to $20,000. I went from a small town of 55,000 people and low expenses to a city with over 663,000 people and crushing overheads. I lived as frugally as I could, yet the cost of gas, rent, food, and the office lease had increased fourfold. I was 21 years old, living 2 provinces away from my home. My office was bleeding money, I had no friends in the same city as me, and my business was failing. I was second guessing my judgment and wondering if I could keep my promise to take my girlfriend to Maui. But I couldn't be too negative. It was exhausting to bitch and complain, and in our training, we were taught to vent up and not down. That meant I would talk to my friends across the country who worked for the company, and we would figure out a way for me to be as positive as possible. My success the year before taught me that when you work on your skill set, you will be profitable. But my failures this year wasn't one of the skills. It was another lesson I needed to learn. Who is Wilson when shit hits the fan? So, what did I do to get out of this rut? I loved on others as hard as I could. I looked at the company's standings and called my friends who were also on the cusp of failing. I was committed to bringing them all up. Even though I was wounded, that doesn't mean I couldn't carry others. I set up a system where we would watch movies in the theater simultaneously across the country by coordinating time zones, with showings in their cities. After each movie finished, we would have a four-way call and nerd out on how awesome or how awful it was. That helped build camaraderie, and it gave us something to look forward to once a week. Together, we watched a ton of movies and exchanged ideas about how to improve the business. As that made me happier, my office started to grow. Why? It's simple. When you're happy at work, you get shit done. You also attract people who want to use and absorb your positive aura. I was always ready to share mine. When you lift other people up, you lift yourself up. And it can be lonely when you have to make an effort for other people and you can find yourself asking, why can't they put the effort on me? That's a selfish way of thinking. The best way to leverage your love to other people is to give it unconditionally. That doesn't mean you're a pushover. It just means that when you decide to stop giving them that effort, you aren't losing them. They're losing you. Making sales that summer was a battle, but I had a ton of fun fighting. I joined the university gym, asked my staff for fun places to go to, and took the whole team out for team nights. And I set up sales contests to motivate my team and paid for prizes out of my own pocket. I started to build a cool culture that revolved around skills training. I decided that as a manager, I didn't have to miss out on the fun. In the end, despite the struggles, it was an amazing summer. I stopped worrying about the money and started loving myself, my team, my colleagues across the city, and most of all, the process of pulling it all together. My office scraped into the company's top 7. I finished in the negative financially, but my mental currency was trading at an all-time high. And then, before I left for home, the company announced a contest in which the prize was a trip to Maui. And it would go to anyone who sold over $10,000 by the end of the summer. With 10 days left before the summer ended, I knew that this was my chance to keep that promise to my girlfriend. My office might have failed, but I knew how to do personal sales. Now, I had no idea how I was going to do it and hit the goal in 10 days, but I needed to do it. After the most grueling 4 months of my life, the summer wasn't over. I traveled back home and I took a day to unpack and unwind. When my girlfriend came to visit, I told her that my Winnipeg office didn't qualify for Maui, and she took it well. Then I hit her with the news that we could still go if I just spent 10 more days doing what I did best, selling. Hey asshole, I haven't even seen you in 4 months and you want to ditch me again? Is what she could have said, but she knew I had good intentions. A promise is a promise, and I knew that Maui would be a trip of a lifetime. They've given me a small window of opportunity and I'll fucking take it. That's what I was thinking. The next day, I went back to Grand Prairie to hit it big again. I had no idea where I was going to stay, so I prepared for the worst. I packed 4 pillows, 2 blankets, a ton of utensil, a giant ass bowl, a flat of bottled water so I can live out of my car. Why did I do this to myself? Because I made a promise to someone I cared about and I would do whatever I had to do to keep it. A part of me also thought it'd be funny, ridiculous, and downright silly to live in a car for a week so I can go on a trip. Mostly though, it was just my way of showing myself that I had the audacity to risk being a fool and suffer discomfort to have a taste of success again. It was also an opportunity to get creative. I didn't want to pay for a hotel because I couldn't afford one. And I didn't know anyone in town, but all I needed were the necessities. My car was my shelter, but I also needed food, somewhere to shower, and get ready to meet clients, the internet access, and just to enter my sales contract. So the first thing I did was go to a college gym and purchased a prorated membership, which was only $20 for the month of August. And that gave me the use of the shower and washrooms every day from morning until late in the evening. It gave me a chance to work out and be that guy that you couldn't kick out at closing time because I was taking a shower naked. My number 2 strategy was leeching all my internet from Starbucks. Every morning, I made my sales call from a Starbucks and logged into their free Wi-Fi. The staff soon got to know me, and they didn't mind if I hung out for an hour or two in the morning and returned periodically throughout the day. Then, late at night, I would drive back to the Starbucks parking lot, connect to their internet, and enter all my sales data from the day. God bless you, Starbucks. I couldn't have done it without you. My third strategy was to bring this giant ass bowl, and since I couldn't keep anything cold, I only had non-perishables, like a jumbo pack of cereal and canned soups. But every morning I would go to the supermarket and buy one of those 250 cartons of milk and eat cereal with milk in my car out of that giant bowl. For protein, I bought meat from the deli every day, and when I needed to heat my soup, I would just take my bowl of food to the food court and use the staff microwave. The last big challenge was deciding where to sleep. I couldn't sleep in the mall parking lot because security would get suspicious when they saw a single parked car there, and I didn't want to sleep too far outside of the city either, because the college gym was downtown and close to the grocery store, so I did what I thought was logical. I parked in a residential area near a playground. Since it was an older neighborhood, I thought there wouldn't be a lot of children playing at the playground, so I parked in the neutral position where it looked like I could be one of the guests at the houses. It wasn't glamorous, but it did the trick, and it helped me keep telling myself, it's only for a few more days, I can do this. That positive self-talk carried me through the shitty sales day and reminded me that pain was temporary and the reward would be worth it. Each morning, I woke up at 6:30, drove around downtown for a bit, and then went to my headquarters at Starbucks. I'd get a coffee, turn on my laptop, organize my leads sheet, and then I'd make phone calls. I'll book as many appointments for the next few days as I could, starting as early as possible to maximize the amount of appointments I could do in a day. I would do my first 2 appointments in the morning, and then go to the grocery store, eat a pre-packaged kale salad, cereal, and cooked meat. I would then do my afternoon appointments, go back to the grocery store, buy supper, eat it, and drive back to Starbucks to make more phone calls, and enter whatever sales I've made so far that day. After I finished the paperwork, I went to my evening appointments, and they were usually about 9 p.m. Finally, I ended my trip to the gym, working out on the bike or doing a run on the treadmill before lifting some weights to give me the energy to do the things I would need to do the next day. After only 4 days, I was halfway towards my goal. I knew I couldn't let up. All I had to do was be homeless for just a little bit longer, and to reward myself, I would purchase a movie ticket to a late show. And that got me bonus shelter until 1:30 in the morning, and it was exactly what I needed. I followed the same routine every day until the 7th day. On that day, I surpassed my goal. In 7 days, I made over $6,000 in commission, which I figured meant I was probably the richest homeless person in that city, and nobody knew except me. It also meant I could go home and tell my girlfriend that we would be going to Maui. The few people in the company who knew what I was doing were in awe. Everyone else thought, oh, it was just a Wilson thing. He's just good at selling. The truth is, for those 7 days, I left myself but no choice to be good at selling. Being homeless made me aware of what I'm good at and what I'm not. For the first time in my life, I was truly proud of myself, and nobody could take that experience away from me. It was mine to keep. It's safe to say that my bank account didn't grow that summer, but I grew in resiliency. Learning about what I could achieve, and even in the face of adversity, was a gift to myself that I cherish. Also, Maui turned out to be one of the greatest trips of my life so far. I do not regret anything. Chapter 5 Summary. Sometimes you need to be at the bottom to appreciate what you earn when you're at the top. Hey, remember to set goals before you're homeless, or else you're just homeless without a goal, and that's just silly. And when you are homeless, remember to buy a gym membership, find a good park to sleep at, and leech Wi-Fi from Starbucks. Once you're done being homeless, go to Maui and ball out. And last but not least, don't give up.